Let me tell you a story. A lifetime ago, in 1995, Edgar Howard Wright began work on this motion picture. That same year, he made his first feature. 9 years later, he released Yours Truly. 2 years later, he began developing Ant-Man for Marvel. In 2007, he received the advance for Baby Driver. He also released Hot Fuzz. 3 years later, he unleashed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. 1 year later, in 2011, he finished the screenplay. That same year, he and Joe Cornish finished the third draft for Ant-Man. Test footage was shot the same month The Dark Knight Rises came out. Following the release of The World's End, pre-production began on Ant-Man, the month of these releases. In December of the same year, Wright cast Rudd in the title role. In the same month that these movies came out, Edgar Wright left the Ant-Man project. On July 22, 2014, it was announced that Edgar Howard Wright would direct Baby Driver for Working Title Films. 1 month later, production began on Ant-Man. It was released July 17, 2015. On February 17, 2016, production began on Baby Driver. On June 28, 2017, Baby Driver was released. On August 1st, 2017, the Ant-Man sequel began production. 1 month prior, reports online said that Edgar Howard Wright and Sony were discussing plans for a Baby Driver sequel. Any questions? Baby Driver. Nobody put this baby in the corner. The story follows Baby, a quality getaway driver. He works for Doc, a businessman. His operation is outside the law. Cue Deborah, a pretty waitress. Baby's gears begin shifting. The kind of life he wants to lead comes into question. One off-ramp leads to a positive future. The wrong one leads to death. Getting to the bottom of why Baby Driver is awesome does not require too much energy. The brain behind Yours Truly, and 1 second unit shot for Star Trek II, don't forget Spaced, is 43. Let the record show that British directors in their 40s make good movies. They are, at least in theory, halfway through life. They've had time to buy and drive a Mini, have a sip of wine, headbutt the Queen, trap their head inside of a turkey, follow a man into the bathroom, blow a calculus test, fail to impress the only 2 friends they have, perform CPR, outsmart a blind man, get food poisoning, ruin a priceless book, adopt a baby, fall in love, ditch that baby, go to school, paint a nude woman, eat a cupcake whilst their car gets crushed by a tank, play the longest game of miniature golf, dress up as a woman, repaint their flat, get a new flatmate, go to the movies with that flatmate. I went with one of my mates. His first outing to a movie since Bad Grandpa, and his first movie in the XD. Our post-film talk inspired my dream for Edgar Wright, his next film in IMAX. I admire him a lot. He's made the list of British people who make me wish I was British. It gets longer every year. The accent is hypnotic, and I'm also kind of absolutely in love with the term flatmate. Ansel Elgort's film mates range from 2 madmen in their own right, a former comedian turned actor-singer, the new Punisher, a fresh face from a dud, and our most recent Cinderella. Baby doesn't have a curfew, but he does have an iPod, a relatable possession. We may not be getaway drivers, but we've got our own personal playlists for various occasions. Being a thief, making art, writing, directly irrelevant but related. Do you think it's a coincidence that Edgar Wright's favorite film is Raising Arizona? There's a heist involving babies, oddball crooks up to no good, not to mention a lot of driving. How do we know this baby didn't grow up to be this baby? Who's to say his foster parents weren't Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter? No, the timelines don't match, but I'm still 35% the optimist. In all goofiness, the films aren't that dissimilar. A surreal domestic heist dramedy. A romantic heist action dramedy. This comparison inspires a let's be clear moment. There are heist films. There are films with heists in them. There are films, literally, called heist. Respect for the literals, even if they are mostly forgettable. I'm a sucker for a cinematic heist. Movies do give robbery sex appeal. The same sensation applies to car chases. And just between you and me, during the opening car chase for this movie, I never once thought of another car chase. Do you know how many car chases exist in cinema? Yeah, I did ask Siri, and she failed to give me an answer. But, little fun fact.
Fire up the roof. That
is the shortest car chase in a movie. John Bernthal has the shortest amount of screen time. It was being saved for Kevin Spacey. I do adore him in House of Cards. He may be a murderer, but let's be honest. If you had to pick someone to murder you, undeniable class. Edgar Wright has revealed his class via the 30-song-long track list. It's Baby's Salvation, a coping device for his tinnitus. A lot like how people associate Bad to the Bone with T2. Gimme Shelter with The Departed. Hello Darkness, Mild Friend with Watchmen.
Because a vision softly creeping.
It's very possible that bell bottoms will be tied to Baby Driver.
the fabulous, most groovy.
The action is cut to all the songs very literally. Paul Marcus was on set every day to confirm the action in every shot was in sync. Spares a broken heart in post-production. No Edgar Wright fan will leave Baby Driver with a broken heart. It's a genre smoothie. Action, comedy, romance, drama, crime, coming of age. The tone is like the iPod volume control, reassuring us one scene, giving us an adrenaline fix the next. Where did Edgar Wright's attraction to this mix come from?
Jesus Christ!
An American Werewolf in London, the film that changed his life. A 9-year-old Edgar Wright saw John Landis craft a very sophisticated tone, and it made a big impression. He calls it the ultimate 16-year-old film. Ansel Elgort is not 16, but he's a perfect fit. Inspired by legends, his career is going well so far. Personally, I have zero doubt he'll last as long as these guys. What kind of life Baby Driver will have by then is unknown, but I doubt I will love it any less than I do now. Thanks for your time. Now, you must excuse me. The Batmobile is calling.